Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast over on YouTube. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. That's Matt Pennie over there in Boston. Today, we're going to be diving deep into another 2022 NBA Draft prospect. Today's dive is going to be into Duke center Mark Williams, one of the best shot blockers in college basketball. As usual, the idea here is that Matt's going to give an overview of the prospect as a whole. Then we're going to dive into his offensive game, then his defensive game. Finally, we'll give an overview of where he is as a prospect. So, Matt, I give the floor to you. Please let us know everything we need to know about Mark Williams.
A few snippets anyway. So Mark Williams from Duke, 7'2" in shoes with a 9'9" standing reach and nearly 7'7" wingspan. He started every game this season for Duke, all 39 of them. He averaged 11.2 points, 7.4 rebounds, 2.8 blocks, shot 72% from the field, did not shoot anything from three, 0% there, 73% from the free throw line. And he's done a little bit of both each of the last two seasons. So in 2020, 2021, the last game of the year versus Louisville, he had 23 points and 19 rebounds. But this season had statistical highlights as well. He had 19-11 against NC State. He had 28-12 versus Syracuse. He had 16-13 versus North Carolina. Left his fingerprints on the game each time he took the floor.
So offensively, let's just kind of be real about this. This is not a guy that's going to be shooting. This is not a guy that right now is going to be making high-level passing reads. He's a rim runner at the end of the day, and he's a finisher at the rim. He had, I believe, the most dunks of any player in college basketball this season, which shouldn't come as a surprise, given the fact that he has a 9'9" standing reach. He has a 9'9"
Yes.
standing reach.
Yes.
That is insane.
Yeah, there's a picture of him just hanging on the rim, like on his tippy toes. That's how large he is as a human being.
He is absolutely enormous. I love his hands. I think that he has really good coordination for someone that's this size, right? Like he can run the court. He can catch on the move a little bit. He can catch below his waist. He catches at his eye level. I think he's lethal, though, in the dunker spot. We'll talk about pick and rolls because I think that's where he's going to be most important in the NBA. But he's absolutely lethal in the dunker spot. If you throw him up a lob, that ball, it's just absolutely going down. He's going to catch it. He's going to put it through the rim with absolute ease. The other thing that's worth noting is he just finishes with authority. Like he tries to tear the goddamn rim down every single time that he dunks. You know, as a rim runner in ball screens, they figured out how to use them, especially later in the year. I love the 4-5 actions they ran with he and Paolo Banchero, particularly. Paolo was their best passer this year, and I think they figured out how to actualize some of the Mark Williams, Paolo Banchero, offensive fits. He made 71% of his shots out of ball screens. That's a really, really high level mark. Overall, he made 76.1% of his half court finishes at the rim. That's the fourth best mark in the country this season, second best in the country behind Chet Holmgren among players with at least 100 attempts at the rim. Not just a dunker, like he made 72% of his foul shots. He can have a couple of touch finishes, but he's going to be dunking everything. Like you're going to use him as a rim runner.
Totally. And mostly at Duke, that's what he was asked to be, and a garbage man on the glass of sorts. And he embraces that. He embraces who he is. He doesn't try to do too much. It's rim to rim, dunker spot, occasional mid-range jumper. Let's not too get crazy there. But he can post and then repost. He works down there. Even if he doesn't get the ball, he's not going to huff and puff. And when he's looked off, here's another effort. I'm going to post again, throw it into me. Has a little bit of a right hook that he uses over the top. His hands are always ready. They're big. They're soft. He's ready for drop-offs, ready to snatch balls away during broken plays. And at his size, too, you would expect him to be a little clunky in his movements and awkward. He's not. He's really, really fluid.
Yeah.
And that's sort of the separator for me with him as a center in this draft class. And the best part is he creates his own offense off of other people's misses. He's always crashing the glass. He's always looking for tip dunks, and he doesn't quit on plays.
The big things he's going to have to improve is just like the ability to be involved in the action with the ball in his hands. Like, I don't even know how comfortable I feel with him, like running dribble handoffs right now. Really needs to improve. I think that you can teach guys how to do that stuff, right? Like, I would love it if he could put the ball on the deck once out of a short roll and finish. I would love if he could run like a dribble once on the perimeter from the 3-point line and run a dribble handoff. We'll see if he ever gets there. I'm a little bit skeptical that he's going to be able to make passing reads and be able to shoot, but I think he can get there in terms of just being able to put the ball on the deck once and then do something. Defensively is where it's at. I mean, just an absolute monster rim protector. 2.8 blocks per game. Honestly, earned every bit of that ACC Defensive Player of the Year award. Duke's guards, their perimeter players, they just hung him out to dry all the time. Like you go and you watch those games. Paulo Banchero is not a great defender. AJ Griffin was horrid defensively this year. And Mark was always there to clean up. I think that even beyond the blocks, he does a really good job of being versatile in ball screen coverages. Like you can play him flat and he can slide for a couple of slides before recovering back into the paint. I think his positioning is great in drop coverage. That's where he's going to be best, obviously. He cuts off that angle between the roller and the ball handler really well. You're not going to use him to like blitz a screen regularly, but he's not like a disaster at it. He's not a disaster when he's caught out on an island against a guard. He uses his length really well, tries to move his feet. Like he's not just like standing there and getting stuck in the mud. Again, that's not going to be the like bread and butter of his game, but he won't get obliterated, I don't think, out on the perimeter because he moves his feet. He has the length. He tries hard. Overall, though, I mean, just an unbelievable rim protector is what it comes down to. The kind of guy that I think legitimately can shut down the paint at the NBA level.
He was Duke's defensive anchor. He's massive and he's mobile. And then he plays with a real edge, too. He blocks shots with either hands. He closes out the shooters on the perimeter. He slides his feet. He contained Jalen Williams from Arkansas pretty well on his drives, and Jalen's a little bit smaller than he is. It is mostly drop coverage right now on screens. I like him to be a little bit better recovering there once the initial defender rolls and he has to get back to the ball handler. That's just a little bit of quickness thing, but he'll get there. He drops to help, and he won't stay hugged up to his man, too, from the weak side. And he's so strong, too, across his chest that he can't be plowed over like some of these longer, skinnier shot blockers. He holds his ground. I love the edge that he plays with, and I love the approach he brings to that side of the ball.
Yeah, no, I agree. Where are we at on Mark Williams as an overall prospect?
I love Mark Williams. The NBA fit is very simple. He's a starting NBA center that supports the rest of the wings and the guards on both ends. Even if the offense doesn't extend beyond what it currently is, I see him as a 10-year plus NBA guy. I have him 12th on my personal big board. I think the Charlotte picks at 13 and 15 are screaming for him because they need a shot blocker and guy in the middle. That would be sort of my best fit, running with LaMelo Ball, catching lobs and dunks, and then blocking shots down the other end.
Yeah. One thing that I didn't mention earlier is like he plays with such a great motor. I think it works against him a little bit sometimes. He has to just rein in that over aggression a little bit. He goes for the hero block a little bit more often than what you like to see, right? I think he can get hand checky on the perimeter a little bit. Overall, though, I still love him. Oh, yeah. I've got him, 11, 12, 13, 14, something like that on my board. I'm so glad you brought up the Charlotte fit. I need LaMelo Ball just throwing lobs to Mark Williams. I really just need it. It's going to really actualize LaMelo Ball in a real way if he has someone that can do that. Oklahoma City needs a center as well. Him catching lobs from Josh Giddey and playing with that core, I think that would really work. I don't know if they would prioritize the center that high, but I think that makes some sense. It's just kind of looking through, though. Once you get past, I think New York makes sense if they don't sign Mitchell Robinson. They're going to have to make a call on that before the draft in terms of, do they love Mark Williams enough to where they're just like, okay, we need to have Mark Williams. I don't know that would be my move for them. But if you get out of that 11, 12, 13 range, 11, 12, 13, 15 range with Charlotte there at 15, it does get a little bit dicey. Like, I don't know if Houston's going to prioritize him at 17. Atlanta has a couple of centers that are really valuable already. You can maybe make a case for Chicago at 18. Minnesota has Karl Towns already at 19. You could see a world where he gets down to 20, like if teams really just don't prioritize the big position. But God, let's just get him to Charlotte, please.
Let's
right?
get him. League past me. Let's go.
Yeah. For Matt Pennie over there in Boston, I'm Sam Vecenie. This has been the Game Theory Podcast over on YouTube. We will be back with more draft prospect breakdowns later this week.